Trapp in the room with me. Gregory, how's it going, man?
And that's always a good thing for me. I think the Big Ten is always makes those interesting noon Eastern Standard Time games where it seems like most of their games come in really good. So I'm excited for this weekend and give out some free picks here.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm stoked about the Pac-12. I actually had a whole Oregon outfit that was planned, and then my hat didn't fit, and the yellow was a weird color, and so now I've dressed like my grandpa instead. But I'm stoked about some Pac-12 action, as my grandpa would be. So there's that. People at home, thank you for joining us. If you have any questions about some games, I've got them going on the ticker. We're going to go through 4 of them. But if there's anything else you guys want to know about at home, feel free to add it into the comments, and we will try to hit that one for you. So we're still waiting. Hopefully Nick Parsons will jump in here with us. And I just wanted to let everyone know we do have a promo code this week at the site. It's Vegas, and it'll save you 20% off the entire site, which isn't bad. Hey, Elliot V. So you ready to kick things off?
Sure. Let's knock it out.
All right. We are going to start off with, if I can get my little thing on, Oklahoma State at Kansas State. So I know we were both on K-State last week against West Virginia, and that
Don't remind me.
that game did not work out for us. So
yeah, exactly. I still think if they play an extra game, Oklahoma or Kansas State still couldn't win that game. Even if West Virginia doesn't even try to score the rest of the game, I don't think they could go.
Fair enough. Well, we are going to get to the West Virginia Texas game a little bit later, but what do we think about? I like both of these teams a whole lot. Like, I'm a big OK State fan.
Hey, Allie, take that link off the screen there.
I didn't realize it was there.
It's over in the host area where the comments take the.
I see it. Okay.
Click on one of the comments. There you go.
I'm still new at this, guy.
We could have some extra people joining us video.
I didn't even know I hit it. A lot going on my little screen. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So, hey, Allie.
Yes.
When you look at this game, this is like Beauty and the Beast here, and Kansas State's the Beast, by the way.
All right. Okay.
Hey, that doesn't mean they can't win. That doesn't mean they can't cover, you know?
Yeah, that's just it. It's a lot of points. Yeah, I mean, 12.5, that's a lot of points for a home
on the road.
Yeah.
On the road. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of crazy. So make sure if you haven't done so, I've got at the end, make sure you stick around. I'm going to have my best 3 bets. So if you're watching, stick around. Some of them might be in some of the games we're covering, but I'll officially say which 3 are my best bets for the weekend, which, of course, everybody usually pays. Probably cost you about $100 to get my picks for the weekend. So I'm going to give them for free, my 3 best plays. So make sure you stay into this at the end here. All right, go ahead, Allie.
All right. Well, Nick Parsons has joined us.
Finally made it.
He's in.
I made it. How's it going?
Good.
So which games have you guys touched
Nick,
on already here?
Nothing yet. We were just about to get started on Oklahoma State and Kansas State. Craig says it's kind of a Beauty and the Beast game, and K-State is the Beast. So why don't you give us your analysis of this matchup?
Well, that's funny. I actually, I don't have an official play on this one either, but no, I'm leaning with Craig there as well. I didn't hear you guys talk about it earlier there, but yeah, K-State, it comes off that poor 37-10 loss to West Virginia, and Oklahoma State, it collapsed late there in OT to Texas. I think a really telling stat there with Oklahoma State, it actually won that yardage battle against Texas, 530 to 287. And the difference is that it lost the turnover battle 4-0. So I I mean, there's a telling stat there for sure. The turnovers really do count because that was such a huge differential there in yardage gained. But another thing that I really like Oklahoma State is because K-State, it's 0-7 against the spread following a straight up loss of more than 20 points. So yeah, I mean, I don't have an official play on this one. I definitely lean towards the Cowboys bouncing back here. I just have a hard time seeing the Wildcats keeping pace down the stretch. And so, yeah, I definitely am with Craig on this one. My strongest play on that particular game is on Oklahoma City. So,
Allie, you got that?
Allie might not be here with us for a second.
I think we lost Allie. All right, so here's the key in this one.
Yes.
If you're playing this game, just ignore this that Oklahoma State loss last week, because if they scored a couple late touchdowns and they win this game, what do you think this line would be? Probably 10.5, or it would be probably an extra 3 or 4 points higher. So to me, I think since they lost, Oklahoma State now is in a big bounce back spot. I like Oklahoma State. I do think this line even might go up before Saturday, so make sure you get on it. I like Oklahoma State minus the points here. I will be honest. After Kansas State screwed me last week and really never even gave me any opportunity to even cover that game, I'm a little bitter on Kansas State. So I like I like Oklahoma State in this one. So
Oklahoma State's quarterback Spencer Sanders. I mean, he did have a really good big day last week. He was 27 of 39, 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. So far, he's completed 70% of his passes. So yeah, that was just bad luck last week. As you said, that was just an anomaly. I'm with you for sure on this one.
Well, in the Big 12, you can play really well and lose because let's be honest, their defenses in the Pac or in the Big 12 are absolutely garbage. I mean, it's crazy that we remember Osborne in Nebraska and Oklahoma back in the day, and Switzer. Like, these were good defensive teams. They could run the ball. Now it's like it's air raid football. They just throw the ball all around. So I see a bunch of comments here. We'll get some of those comments up as Allie will bring those in. Allie, what do we got next? We want to do this West Virginia game, West Virginia, Texas. Another team that screwed me a few weeks ago, this West Virginia team. So definitely a little bitter about West Virginia, and Texas. I believe West Virginia is what are they
getting 6.5 here.
6.5?
Yeah. Yeah. And so Texas, of course, is coming off that big win last week over Oklahoma State. And West Virginia, it's coming off a 37-10 win over Oklahoma or K-State. So we're touching on a bunch of these teams here in the Big 12.
Yeah, but don't you think, though, West Virginia, 2 weeks ago they lost to Texas Tech, and they didn't really look very good. And then we saw Texas Tech get run over by Oklahoma at home last week. Texas Tech couldn't beat them. So, maybe West Virginia were just caught looking past Texas Tech. But, they came home. They looked really good. I kind of like them here. I think Texas they played so well last week on the road. It seems like that's when Tom Herman's Texas Longhorns have struggled the most, is when you kind of they come off one of these big wins. So to me, I think you have to take West Virginia in the points. Not one of my favorite plays of the week, but I do think West Virginia and the points will be enough. I could even see West Virginia winning this game, to be very honest. If you look at the Big 12, outside of maybe the bottom 2 or 3 teams, I think anybody can beat anybody this year. Oklahoma is not nearly as good as what they were. Oklahoma State, we saw them lose last week. They were one of the few undefeated teams in conference play. So to me, I definitely am giving a lot of the underdogs hope here this week in the Big 12.
I'm agreeing with you on this one. Another that Texas win did come at a cost as well, because top running back Keontae Ingram he got injured with a sprained ankle. He's definitely out for this one. And so that's big too here for sure. And as you said, the Longhorns have struggled with consistency under Herman in these types of situations where they have a big letdown off of a big win. I mean, Texas it's already allowing 5.1 yards per play right now as well. So West Virginia's offense is going to be able to move the ball, and all of these other things working against Texas
I mean, what he did at Houston, you have to think that if he could do that at Houston, he would be able to do it with all the money that Texas. I mean, Texas spends some of the biggest money out there in college football, and it's just so weird that you spend all that money yet you can't consistently win. So Ali says she's here, but she can't comment. So I don't know what's happening here. This is a new system. I probably should have ran it because I've been practicing on my own the last few days.
Right.
So
it does look great. Sure, we'll have all the bugs worked out.
If you haven't done so, give us that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share, tell your friends, leave a comment on what game you like, or if you have questions on games, and we'll get to them. I know Jose says, guys, good night. Why Liberty is plus 17 if they're ranked 25? Because they're playing Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech, and, you're not going to get a whole lot of respect if you're Liberty. But that's one of my games. I'm going to have 3 best bets at the end that you're going to have to pay for tomorrow, getting them for free. So stick around here at the end. We have, about 15, 20 more minutes. So, all right. So did you give it official play? Do you have official play on West Virginia, Texas?
I don't yet, but I guess for our show, and I definitely am leaning towards the Mountaineers. Absolutely, grab the points.
Yeah, and every Big 12 game, if you have any question, just play the over.
That's the rule around here.
I mean, why not? I mean, it's when you look at the box scores, because I watch about 4 games. I have 4 TVs. I can watch 4 at once, and then usually one on the computer or the iPad. Yeah. So you can't watch all the games, but and then afterwards you're going back and I'm watching the highlights or whatever, and you see the scores of the Big 12 games. It's like, do they even worry about defense? So,
I know.
All right. So what's the other game we covered? Florida
and Georgia. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Cocktail party, baby.
Yeah, the cocktail party.
That's what we should be doing right now. I mean, I have a cocktail, but it's ice water. So, and look, it's Cincinnati Bengals, but they're on a bye this week. So,
okay. Well, they had a big game last week.
Yeah, what a game. But Florida, it is not at Georgia. It's versus Georgia. We got that wrong here. Georgia minus 3.5, total 52.5. Nick, tell me what you like on this one.
Well, at this point, I don't have an official play here, but I'm sort of feeling like I love the underdog on this one as well. Obviously, the bookmakers think that these teams are pretty evenly matched with a spread like this. But this is a revenge game for the Gators. They lost this game last year, 24-17. Kyle Trask in Florida, they looked pretty good in last week's win over Missouri. Trask had 345 yards and 4 touchdowns, and the defense had its best performance of the year as well. I mean, they've only played a few games, but still they held Missouri to just 48 rushing yards, 248 yards overall. So the Bulldogs, Georgia, it's their defense. It took a big hit last week. Defensive back Richard LeCounte, he's been lost to the season to injury. And so he already had 3 interceptions for Georgia. And so that sort of leads me to like Florida here as well, Craig. I mean, there's no big secret here. What Georgia's going to do, it's going to try to run the ball. And the Gators, of course, they're going to load up the box. They're going to try to force Stetson Bennett to make throws to beat them. Florida, though, it's been really good offensively. It's perfect in the red zone so far this year. Let me just see that. Yes, here's the stats. On all 21 attempts in the red zone, 16 of those have gone for touchdown. The defense has been sharp. It's conceded only a total of 3 touchdowns this year. Kirby Smart's offense, it's more conservative this year than it was last year. And he's lost a lot of talent over the offseason. I mean, in the early going, it appears that Bennett, he's more of a game manager. I mean, he has 7 touchdowns, but he also has 5 interceptions. And Zamir White, he's been really a standout on offense. He has 402 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns. And obviously, along with that strong run game, the Bulldogs' strength is their defense. But I mean, Florida, it's red hot offensively right now.
But Nick, don't you think if this game comes down to the great defense of Georgia, which they probably have top 3, if not top 2 defense in the country, against top 3 maybe offense in the country, but both of the others, the flip sides on both teams, not very good. So I mean, it's strength versus strength and weakness versus weakness in this one, and that makes this one I think a little confusing, as I'm sure to most bettors.
Absolutely. I mean, this is going to be a really highly contested game. The field is going to be short. And in a case like that, I think you have to look at the starting quarterbacks. I think that's a really good place to look. And if you look at Trask and you look at Bennett, of those two playing right now, clearly it's Trask who's doing a much better job of moving this ball, making big plays right now. And as good as Florida's defense is playing right now, and the consistency in that. And so I'm sort of leaning that way as well because of Trask.
Well, I'm on the other side here. I like Georgia.
Okay.
The reason why is when I get confused, I go back to the basics.
Right.
And defense wins championships, even though in college football hardly anybody plays defense now. And you got to be able to run the ball and play defense. I do think Georgia will try to keep the ball away from Florida a little bit. So I think I like Georgia in this one. And some people ask about the BYU game tonight. I do have a best bet on BYU tonight. I think I've been very impressed with BYU. Other than I think it was the game they played UTSA, I think, and they kind of were just lackluster. But other than that, I mean, they've been very impressive. And Boise, we don't know what Boise is yet because we saw they played in the Mountain West, and the Mountain West is garbage, especially the teams they beat. So to me, I do like BYU. There were some other people here talking about some other games. Let's see, Jose likes Michigan State +7. Yeah, seems like a gift. Don't get too carried away with either Michigan or Michigan State off of what you saw last week. Because those rivalry games can be, 2 weeks ago, let's remember, Michigan State lost to Rutgers, like by 40. And then last week they beat Michigan. And we seen, who was it else that had a big win? Maryland got trounced by Northwestern, and then Maryland won last week. So, I mean, don't get overly concerned with what happens early in these seasons. We've seen it in all of the conferences, and now the Big Ten is, now that they're in the third week. Don't get over think just because you saw something last week that's what you're going to see this week.
I mean, and you don't have to look further than Michigan's first game against Minnesota if you want to overreact, smashing Minnesota 49-24 in its opener and then losing 27-24 to Michigan State last week.
Right. So make sure if you haven't done so, leave a comment, give us a thumbs up, hit the share button, tell your friends, like all that stuff, either on Facebook or on YouTube. Every Friday or every Wednesday and Friday, we have the live cap, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 3 o'clock on the West Coast. And Nick and Allie join in, and then usually me or we're going to have Sean Higgs and some of our Scott Rickenbach, some of the other cappers join in. Dan, the Professor Kaiser did on Wednesday. You can get the Wednesday show. That's the NFL version of what we're doing now in college football. So you can go back and check that both at YouTube and at Picks and Parlays. So, all right. So last game, I believe we've covered all of them, but
Michigan and Indiana.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This is tough because week one we saw Indiana beat Penn State at Indiana, big upset right at the wire. I still don't know if he scored in that overtime, by the way. But either way, they were going to cover. But then the next week they played Rutgers. They look good. Now we've seen Michigan win big week one at Minnesota. Then last week looked terrible against what I think is a bad Michigan State team. So what do you think this week? What do we see? Is Indiana for real?
Well, Jim Harbaugh, he's struggled against the big guns in the Big Ten, such as Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State, and Wisconsin. He's now just 8-13 against these teams as a coach of the Wolverines. Indiana, it's 2-0. It's 2-0 since the first time since 1991. Indiana got by Penn State. I think that was a huge win, really, considering Penn State lost that game in overtime. Then Penn State lost a pretty competitive game to Ohio State. It's 0-2, and Indiana is 2-0. Who would have thought that? And then,
do you think Indiana offense can move? You think they can move the ball against? I mean,
now here we go. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to move the ball against Michigan and Indiana. It allows 28 points per game as well, so it's not like they're playing lights out defense at all here.
Yeah, I mean that's where this Indiana, if they win, is not going to be because of their defense.
No,
I mean they beat Penn State. Did you see the time of possession? It was like 1,000,000 to like 12, and they somehow won that game. That's why I bet against them last week was because Rutgers. Yeah, right. I made a mistake thinking Rutgers had a team, and they really didn't. But do you think Indiana defense can they just have to be, I think, halfway decent because Michigan offense isn't great.
That's true. And in Indiana's defense, it has 6 picks over the first 2 games. So that is significant, 6 takeaways. So it is making plays, even though it's giving up some points.
Yeah.
And the Hoosiers, they've been decent offensively as well, 36.5 points per game over those first 2. But yeah, I mean, I'm torn on this one. Obviously, the Wolverines, they're going to be hungry to bounce back here. They've covered in 3 of the last 4 in this series. But Indiana looks great. What about you, Craig? Do you have an official lean or?
I mean, can you imagine Michigan? The state of Michigan might, go jump in the lakes up there.
That's true. If they lose another one,
Indiana after they lost it. So I gotta think Michigan wins here. I actually think Indiana's really good this year, or much improved from what we know and remember of the Indianas of the past. But I just think Michigan. I mean, it's a must win for them. I mean, Jim Harbaugh.
Absolutely.
He seems like he's actually pretty good against the. If it's not Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State, he seems to be pretty, or any of his rivals when he was at Stanford. I think you got to take Michigan here. Like I said, I have 3 best bets. I'm going to give them here. Just a few minutes left. But yeah, I think I'm going to take Michigan in that one. I know. Do I need a parlay for tonight? Over Miami, over BYU. I like BYU. That Miami game, I kind of like NC State in that one. I mean, call me crazy. NC State looked so bad against their rival, and then they had a week off. I got to think they play a little better. And but I wouldn't talk you off the over in Miami because NC State. I mean, I think they allowed 40 something to UNC, and Miami has. King at quarterback can really dual threat quarterback. So I would maybe take the over in that game. If you just want to know overs, I think the better over for me would be the Miami NC State game because that BYU game, Boise's defense secondary is really good. They had to replace 4 really good up front guys, but their secondary is excellent. So I would stay away from over in that game. If it was me, I just would take BYU in that game.
All right, Craig. And so did you have a few other lightning picks here at the end that you wanted to give out? Yeah,
I'm just going to read off some of these comments. Elliot said Michigan needs it. No doubt. Yes. Wayne, I watched your video early. This must be Allie. She likes the Wolfpack at home. And Elliot, NC State can cover, believe tonight. If you're NC State and you lose this game, it's like you got to check your man card when you lose to a rival. And it's the same reason why I like Michigan. When you lose to your rival, it's check your man card the next game. And at least Michigan was close. NC State got absolutely demolished. And I know that's Chelsea's team. And I did this video earlier in the week with Chelsea, and I'd given her a hard time. But NC State was on their quarterback, their third string quarterback. So
right.
And Henry just mentioned that. Yeah. So I know they're on their backup quarterback, but when you have a time off like you did last week, I think that will help, and I think they'll be a little bit better this week. All right, so I'm going to give out 3 of my best bets. These are my 3 best bets for the weekend, so got them written down right there. Liberty at Virginia Tech. I love Liberty at 14 when it opened. I like Liberty at 17 even more. I think Liberty can win this game. Liberty is for real. Their offense can score, and they have scored on everybody. So I like Liberty, probably my best bet of the weekend. BC, we saw how good BC was, almost beating Clemson. I think that gives them a lot of confidence. Guess who they play this week? The worst team, I won't say in football. They're not in football. But in the ACC is Syracuse, minus 14.5. BC's offense is for real. I like BC minus 14.5. And then Maryland at Penn State. This is crazy. Let me check the line is now. The line opened at 24. It's 25.5 now. So either Minnesota is absolute garbage, which maybe that's the case because Michigan killed them, Maryland won in overtime, or Maryland's just not as good as what I think. I think Maryland's a little better. Remember, Tua's brother got the start last week. He looked awesome. Give me the 25.5 now with Maryland. I think Penn State is, obviously they're 0-2 and they need this win. But you can win and dominate and still only win by 3 touchdowns. So to me, if you give me 25.5, I'm going to take Maryland. So those are my 3 best bets for tomorrow. I also will have – I have 2 other 4-star plays that I'll have at. Those are 5-star plays. So, of course, you can get that over at Picks and Parlays. But those are my 3 official plays. Nick, you have anything for tomorrow?
I do. I've got a couple plays posted for tomorrow, a couple plays posted for Sunday. I'm coming off a big win with the Packers last night. So, yeah, I'm gearing up for a big weekend as well, Craig. And I'm definitely going to take a second look there at that Liberty game, getting 17 points there, number 25.
Crazy.
So,
unfortunately, next weekend I'm going to be in Vegas with Allie, with Kurt. I don't think Scott. I think he's going to be out of town with Chip probably at the Westgate. We'll be announcing that next week. I'm probably going to do the Wednesday NFL show next week because on Friday I'm going to be in Vegas. I'll announce we're going to be having. So if you're in Vegas, you can come out to the. I believe we're going to do it at the Westgate if everything gets cleared up. But we're going to do it at the Westgate. You can stop out and meet all of us and get a free drink on Allie. Maybe not. Maybe on Kurt. I don't know. But either way, make sure 20% off all weekend long. Use that promo code Vegas. And if you haven't done so, give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Share. Tell your friends on Facebook or YouTube. And make sure you turn on notifications for you on YouTube. So that way, every time I go live or one of our group goes live, that you'll get notified. So, all right, guys.
Awesome.
Have a
See you
great
tomorrow
one.
morning for Total Chaos as well.
Yeah. 1 Eastern Standard Time, right?
1 Eastern, exactly.
1 Eastern Standard Time. We got Kurt and Allie and Nick, and they'll be giving out all total plays in the NFL.
Exactly.
So if you like the Total Chaos, of course you can get a little bit of it over at YouTube and pick some parlays. But if you want to get the full card, if you like betting totals, they'll have them all for you for NFL Week 9.
Awesome.
All right, guys.
Wait.
Take it easy.
Okay. See you guys.